What's going on, DJBooth.net? This is DJ Blaze, and I'm coming at you guys in the lab to give you a full HD video review of the new Reloop Terminal Mix 4 digital DJ controller. Alright everyone, so here it is. This is the newest, latest, and greatest from Reloop, their newest digital DJ controller with full MIDI mappable capabilities. This is the Terminal Mix 4 digital DJ controller, again by Reloop. For the first impressions and the setup, we're just going to talk about how this thing looks, how it feels. It's a top quality digital DJ controller. It's made up of mostly all metal. Everything feels very good to the touch. It's a very heavy weighted controller, just very high quality all around. Very good build quality, very good sound quality. It's just a very top of the echelon type of controller. It's up there with the Newmark NS6. I'll put it up there with the Vestax controllers, with the Denon controllers. Just very solid and something that, you know, feels very professional. Very nice controller, nice feel. And, you know, that's on par with most of Reloop's products. They always have this nice, no-nonsense black layout. Everything is very clear and concise. Easy for you to read, easy for you to see. All the buttons are very big and oversized. I really like that. Everything sends MIDI information to your computer, so that way you can map this to the software of your choice. Very nice oversized knobs, as I was saying before, with a nice long throw to them, so you can actually feel exactly where you need to go with the mix. The EQs, and most of them do have a center click, so you know when you're at the halfway point. Moving along to the buttons and the feel. The buttons are mostly hard, but they all have an illumination to them, and they all light up in the background so you can see what's on, except for the actual load buttons down here below the jog wheel. These are all rubberized. They have a very nice feel to them, very tactical. They make you want to press them. They really feel good. Play, pause, stop, your cue play button, and your play forward and back button as well. So along with the how it feels and how it works, the overall impressions, we're also going to talk about the actual setup. The setup of the Virtual DJ LE software or the Serato DJ Intro software is very easy. It's all on one disc. You get one disc that has your AISO drivers on them, just in case you're using a Windows machine, or if you're using a Mac machine, then it just automatically picks it up as soon as you plug it in. You plug in your USB connection after you have installed your software and your drivers, and you're ready to go. You have your outputs that we showed you earlier on the back, and with that you have the RCA connections here. You can either use another set of RCAs for your booth, or you can do your 1/4 inch masters on the back as well. And you have your headphone jacks in the front, 1/4 inch and mini, very easy to plug in. You choose what you have there, put it in, and you're ready to go. Setup is very easy depending on the software you want to use with it. If you're using Virtual DJ LE, then you're ready to go as soon as you load that up, just like a printer. Same thing with Serato DJ Intro. Both of these softwares are good, but they do have their differences. We'll continue on with that in a little bit. Okay, so next up we'll talk about the inputs and outputs. Just an interesting fact here on the back, we have a DC input for a type of power adapter. The unit did not come with a power adapter. It's USB powered. With USB power, everything lit up very nicely. It seemed like USB power was more than adequate enough, and that's probably the reason why it did not come with a actual adapter here. But to go along with that, there also is only one way to play another source directly from your Terminal Mix 4, and that's through the actual aux inputs on the side. So you're still going to need your computer for power in order to use that aux input, but unless you have this actual adapter that you can probably order from Reloop. Might be a good idea for those of you who are going to be gigging with the Terminal Mix 4. So next up is the actual power switch. USB adapter goes there. You have your master balanced 1/4 inch outputs, along with your master unbalanced and booth RCA here as well. Moving right along, we have the input one. This is that auxiliary input throughput that we were telling you about. You can have it at line or phono mode. There's a ground post for those of you who are using analog deck. And the volume control for this input is not found actually on any of the faders of the unit. It's actually found independently of any of the faders on the unit, right here in the front. This is your volume control knob, which you can press to hide away or press to bring back out, so you can change your volume level of that auxiliary input on the back. There's also a microphone input on the front as well, with its own level and tone adjust knobs in the front. Those also pop out and pop back in. Over on the front, there's also the crossfader curve control knob, and there are selectable switches so that you can change the decks to any side of the fader that you see fit. So decks C and A, you can push them to the left side of the fader so that they will be controlled by the left side of the fader. You can make them through. That means the fader has no bearing at all, or you can push them over to the B side of the fader, which is all the way over here to the right. Next up, you have your headphone outputs. You have a 1/4 inch and you have the mini or 1/8 inch adapter option as well. And there is a cool tone knob for your headphones. The volume and the Q mix faders knobs are on the front, but right here you're able to control the tone. That's the low and the high, like a nice low high type meter or knob that you can change that to your preference, how you want it to sound in the headphones. Next up, we'll just talk about the hardware a little bit more. We'll go straight from the discussion of the setup to the actual mixer portion of the whole entire unit. You have your headphone jack on the front with its own tone control, so you can adjust the treble or lows on there with the one knob. For the mixer itself, we have the crossfader. The crossfaders and the line faders have very nice feel to them. Most controllers, you know, they feel plasticky. These feel more metal and more solid than most controllers out there in the market today. It has a nice click to it, so you know when you've hit your outside. The cut-in distance of the actual fader is a bit long. If you can see that, it's about 2 millimeters, I'd say, before you see anything. But even though it's long, it's very short-footed, so you can do a lot of your scratching routines that you want to do with it. No problems there. You have your curve control adjustment on the front. It's a knob. You can either make it so it's quick, or you can make it so it's a long fade. But definitely adequate enough for scratching from a crossfader feel point of view, and I was able to do mostly all of my scratches with it within the realm of a controller, of course. Also, here we have the line faders. They have a bit more resistance to them, but again, they just feel more solid than most DJ controllers out there. Very nice. One of my gripes with the unit is that we have an LED line level indicator, but this indicator only shows you master. It does not show you any of your individual sources or your individual lines, and that could be bad sometimes for actually in use or in practice, because you won't know exactly where your level is until you go live with your mix. At that point, you'll be scrambling to update your gains up top, but software usually has auto gain in it anyway, so that's probably why they left that feature out. To continue on with the mixer, there is fader start buttons for each of the 4 decks. There's also a nice oversized metal knob to browse through your tracks. You have crate buttons, view buttons, prep and back buttons. This is all for navigation through your software, the software of your choice. You have your headphone cue buttons here. That way you can cue whatever is in your cue or in your mix. This is the cue mix knob. That way you can fade between whether you want to hear what's coming out of the master, which is mix, or if you want to hear what's coming out of the cue. You have your headphone volume control knob here. You have the booth separate volume control knob along with the master separate volume control knob as well. Each one of your channels has the low, mid, high, full kill, EQ along with the gain knob up top, and each of your lines also have a filter knob as well. So on the front we showed you that we do have a microphone input that has its own tone or level control. There is a switch down here to switch it between software or manual, and when it's in software you're supposed to be able to do things like put effects and everything on top of your microphone, but we didn't test that feature. We didn't see how easy or hard it was because Virtual DJ LE doesn't have that feature out of the box, and neither does Serato DJ Intro. So just a quick reminder to keep that in mind. So if you're looking to use that feature when you buy it out of the box, not exactly sure how that's done just yet. Moving right along, next up we'll talk about the actual deck portion. And with the decks we have, like we said earlier, these transport controls. They're all rubberized. They have a nice feel to them. They really feel very tactile, nice to press. Also, you have a shift delete button over here on the top, and you have a deck 3 or deck 4 button in order to switch to your other deck of control. Next up, the jog wheels. Jog wheels are nice and big. They're usually not this big on a DJ controller, but it's a welcomed design, and it really feels good, looks good, and it just is one of the best jog wheels that I've used on a digital DJ controller. The mapping is very tight with Serato DJ Intro. We'll go into that a little bit later. Next up top, you have all of your other play controls. You have sample buttons here on the bottom, hot cue buttons here on the top. Depending on what software you're in, these can change to be different numbers of different things. I'll show you that when we go through the two different software. Here you have your loop controls at the top, your loop length knob, and your loop move knob. Also here we have your in and your out, or your grow or shrink buttons as well. Up here on both sides of the actual deck top, we have the FX Bank 1 and the FX Bank 2. Here you have your 4 knob configuration. Everybody's pretty familiar with that now. All of the controllers have that, along with your 4 buttons on the bottom, and they all illuminate so you know what effect you have enacted at the time. Over here, same thing. You have another 3 effects to choose from, and depending on the software that you use with the controller, you'll have those available to you. You also have here a nice long throw, no center click pitch slider. Very nice for riding the pitch, very accurate. Again, that mostly depends on the software you're using, but in practice it was very nice to use, very easy to use, and everything just worked with it. Okay, so next up we're going to talk about the actual individual software it comes with. First up, we'll run down Serato, the DJ Intro this comes with, because you know this is a Serato controller, so it's only fitting that we talk about Serato first since it's actually branded on the unit. Serato DJ Intro is the bare bones entry-level version of Serato's DJ controller software, or DJ software, and because of that you're going to be missing a lot of functions in this controller when you go to use it. For example, the first thing out of the box you'll notice is Serato DJ Intro is only a 2-channel or 2-deck DJ software. So that means you automatically are eliminating your deck 3, deck 4. You cannot use any of the controls for your 3rd and 4th deck with Serato DJ Intro. So Serato DJ Intro, even though it's branded here for this controller, it's only a 2-deck controller, and there's no 3rd or 4th deck option here. So if you're buying this controller to use it strictly with Serato, you got to know off the bat you're going to be missing some functions that you have right on board with the unit. Another interesting issue with the Serato DJ Intro is that you do not have a loop move. This loop move knob has no function whatsoever when you are using that. You only have about a few different effects to choose from. Not really many. Total number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You only have 6 different effects to choose from. and you're just limited overall with Serato DJ Intro. But the good thing about Serato DJ Intro is the tight mapping with the jog wheel. The jog wheel feels excellent when mapped with Intro. Perfect mapping. You have your hot cues up top. You have 4 hot cues in Serato DJ Intro, and you have your 4 sample banks as well, along with your 6 effects. Okay, so now we are going to talk about the Reloop controller terminal mix 4 with Virtual DJ LE. Now, Virtual DJ LE, the version that comes with the Reloop controller, is one of the more full-featured versions of Virtual DJ LE that I've seen, because you start off with all 4 of your decks. So you do have 4 decks that you can mix with here. All of your buttons and functions are going to work. You're going to get, instead of 4 cue points, you're going to get 8. When you press the hot cues sampler button, it turns this into your second row, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the actual software. Same with the samplers. You have your 4 samples here. When you press the button, you change this to 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8 sample banks in total. And it's just more full featured. All of your loop controls do work. You can cut your loops, you can grow your loops. Everything works here, and you can move your loops as well. Along with that, you have a few more effect options as well within Virtual DJ LE, and you can upgrade to Pro to unlock even more effects and more features and functions. But you know, you're gonna have to come out of pocket for that, and you're actually going to probably want to do that. When you are going to look at a controller of this caliber, you're looking for your Pro features. You want all of your features. So more than likely, most of you are going to go out when you buy this and you're going to pair it with Tractor Pro. All of the TSI files and mappings for all your other software are actually found on the Reloop DJ website. You can download them there. And it works with a bunch of different software. There is a Tractor mapping for your 2 decks of control with 2 sample decks, or you can have all 4 decks of track decks for you to manipulate. The control and setup of that is fairly easy. You download the TSI file, you attach it to your Tractor Pro software. We're not really going to get into all that here, because if you're a Tractor Pro 2 user, you know what you're getting, you know what you want already, and this controller will work just fine with that. It's fully MIDI mappable. But back to Virtual DJ LE, you have a pretty full feature set here. The mapping to the jog wheels is not as tight. There's a little bit more of a delay there.
Mystical was popping.
A little bit more of a delay there, but and the resolution just isn't as high, but you do get a pretty good emulation overall with the jog wheels in Virtual DJ LE. It's good enough, fair enough to suffice, and definitely good enough for you to do most of your mixing and everything else you want to do in that regard. Again, you get your 8 cue points, you get your 8 sample decks, and it's just a little bit more full featured. You get all of your loop functions.
I'm a political refugee. That's how the fuck I felt.
Birds for the summer, hummers, birds for the summer, birds for the summer, hummers for the runners.
And delete, just press shift.
Birds for the summer, hummers for the runners.
And delete.
Candy on the paint, 9 for the thunder. Throw a couple of honeys, fishing on a fish tail. Big money, shit, cash money, Earl Wham. High roller, fishing on a fish tail. Big fishing on a fish. On a fish tail, fishing on a fish tail, big money, shit, cash money,
sample. Stay out of that medicine camp. Giving us.
So in conclusion, the Reloop Terminal Mix 4 is an excellent digital DJ controller. It's just an all-around performer. You have all of your main functions that you need as a digital DJ. You have all of your hot cue buttons up here, all of your sample functions, your loop controls, all of your FX controls just where you want them in the right layout. You have these nice oversized jog wheels, some of the best jog wheels I've ever used on a digital DJ controller before. Very sturdy and solid faders. You know, the faders feel more metal than plastic. I really like how they feel. You have nice transport controls. They have a nice rubberized feel, very tactile, nice for use. And you have nice long throw pitch sliders for riding the pitch when you guys are doing those long mixes. So there's a lot of great things here on this DJ controller. We're going to recommend it for beginners, for professionals, anybody who wants an extra controller on the go, mostly professional use. But beginners, you know, if you're a beginner, you can afford professional equipment, then go for it. This is a great controller all around for anyone. My major gripes with it is there's no standalone mixer option. Usually when you have a 4-deck controller like this that's all metal, there's some type of inputs on the back where you can correspond them to your line inputs, and that way you can use it without a laptop, and you don't need a laptop in order to play anything. You can just put CDJs on the outside of this and just use it as a mixer. Unfortunately, you can't do that with the Terminal Mix 4. It's also doesn't have a full featured software with it. You're going to want to probably buy a professional grade software such as Tractor Pro, Virtual DJ Pro, in order to take full advantage of everything that the hardware has to offer. It would have been nice to see it come with something like a Serato itch. That way, you know, you would have had real tight jog wheels. You would have been able to use your four decks of control, but it just didn't work out that way. And for now, you can only use 2 decks when you're in Serato mode. Also, another of my final minor gripes was that the main LED indicators here only show you the main output. They don't show you what individual line levels are, so that way when it's time for you to do your mixing, you will not know exactly the level of your line outputs until you're already in live mix. If you can get over those minor gripes, then the controller is one of the best. It's one of the best that we've used. The jog wheel is definitely one of the best that we've used. Great faders, great oversized knobs. Everything just works as it's supposed to, and it's very solid. So for more on the whole full written review, you can go over to www.djbooth.net/DJS. You can also keep subscribing to the YouTube channel for more videos just like this one. It's youtube.com/RealDJBlaze. And you can also follow me on Twitter for all of your DJ equipment updates and all of your news where you get it first. It's @DJBlaze_DJBooth. Thanks for watching.